Hello, my name is Kim, and in this reading, we are going to find out what it is that you can expect and or look forward to this Gemini season of 2026, which covers the days from May 20th to June 21st. So take a moment and meditate on the cards before you, because the one that you end up being drawn to the most or you find yourself glancing back to will be the reading and will have the messages meant for you. Okay, so we have card 1, card 2, card 3. If you have selected, please head on over to either the description box or the pinned comment in the comment section down below to find the timestamp that will allow for you to skip ahead to your selected reading. And if you are ready, then let us get started. Let's go. Hello, if you were drawn to card 1, bienvenidos to your reading. So when meditating on the energy of this group, the expression reaching down into the barrel came to mind. So this made me think of something coming to an end, of a conclusion, which is interesting because the word conclusion also came to mind. So if you have been working on a project or there's a task that's been pretty time consuming, that has a lot of steps to it, it seems like this Gemini season, you're finishing it, you're completing it, you're reaching its last and final steps. But if there is something that you had to empty out, like it was part of the task, it was part of a chore for you to empty it out, and it's been taking a while for you to empty out this thing, then it's in this Gemini season when you will be finally emptying it out. This could also be pertaining to organizing, maybe decluttering. That's something some of you could be doing this Gemini season as well and completing before the season ends. Also, if you take medications and you tend to refill, just make sure that you're up to date with your medications and you plan things out or schedule things out accordingly so there is enough time for your prescription to be refilled if it tends to be out of stock, or for you to be able to pick it up before your current prescription runs out. Okay, just something to keep in mind. And if there is an order that you had to fill and it was taking a while for you to fill it, or if you have orders to fill and you start worrying whether you will be able to fill them on time or to send them out on time, do not worry, you will. Okay, but I am going to reveal the message that is on the back of the card that you were drawn to nearing the end of your reading. First, I want to draw out numbers to get a look at what will be the themes of this season. Oh, okay, so your first number is 8. And then we have 1 and 0. Okay, so looking at 1 and 0, it immediately made me think of the number 10. Although I'm going to interpret these numbers individually because there is a number 10 in this mini deck and it didn't fall out. So I'm going to assume these digits wanted to be interpreted separately, but the number 10 in and of itself is a number that often indicates endings and conclusions. So I'm just leaving that out there because that is the number that came to mind. And I did mention you experiencing endings, conclusions, or you completing tasks and projects this Gemini season. So I feel that's just extra confirmation for you guys. And seeing that we have the number 1, which indicates new beginnings, it's very likely that is within this Gemini season that you will not only be completing projects and tasks, but you will also be starting new projects. Yeah, especially because we have the number 8 here, which is a number that I personally associate with work and practice, also with projects. So you might also be taking some time to plan for new projects and start executing the first steps of these plans. I also see a new beginning at work, right? So there could be some kind of resetting or refreshing going on at work. For example, if you alongside a team have been working on a project for months and you're finally completing it this season, then as soon as you complete this, you and your team could be doing a bit of a reset to prepare for the new project, the next task, and so forth. Yeah, I'm sensing with the number 0 some cleaning, some decluttering, or a bit of like shaking off the old, right? In order to embrace the new, whatever is coming up next. This is the season where you might also be practicing and honing new skills, or you will continue honing the skills that you recently took on. If you work with clients, with patients, customers, or if, for example, you are a tutor, maybe a private teacher or trainer who works with students or apprentices, this is the season in which you will be getting new students or working with new clients, patients, or customers. If you have been going through a bit of a training or probation period, or you were doing consultations with potential patients, clients, you will be let know that you either passed your training probation period, right? So you might get offered a full-time or part-time position somewhere, or those who you were giving consultations to will let you know that they want to continue working with you. Yeah, I heard they like you, they want to stay, they want to continue. Yeah, so that could be pertaining to like patients, clients, maybe even patrons. Yeah, so let's say if you are on social media, if you have like a channel, if you offer content online, this is the season in which you're getting new viewers, new audience, or patrons. And a lot of these viewers or people who are part of this audience will be deciding to stick around, to stay, maybe to subscribe or follow or pay for a subscription. Yeah, because I see something like a trial. Maybe it's you who is going to try out a free trial and then decide that, yeah, you want to stick around, you want to stay. Although with the number 0, for those of you who are interested in trying something out without needing to pay for a full subscription, know that there will be a free trial. Yeah, some of you may be taking advantage of a free trial situation. Okay, but I'm going to set these here aside, and now I'm going to move to the deck to see what more info we can get. Okay, so we have 2 cards that fell out together, and it is the 7 of Swords with the King of Swords. So air signs may be of significance, which would be Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. You may be an air, sun, moon, or rising sign, or someone who is an air, sun, moon, or rising sign will be playing a significant role in your life this Gemini season. But I find it very fitting that the element of air came through so strongly right off the bat, because this is a reading about an air sign season, Gemini. So this lets me know that things are unfolding accordingly. You're very much in your element, or you will be very much in your element this season. You will also be quite on it, quite on task. The 7 of Swords is a card that indicates strategic moves, strategic thinking. It's a card that can sometimes indicate someone getting away with something. As you can see by the illustration, this person is getting away with these swords over here. But it being paired alongside with the King of Swords in the upright, this gives me more of a strategic vibe, like someone being very analytical, very logical during this Gemini season. The King of Swords, I believe, is associated with the zodiac sign Aquarius. And the sign Aquarius is known to be very innovative, the out-of-the-box thinkers. So you're thinking of new ideas this Gemini season. Like I said, you may be starting and are planning new projects. And if you're working with a team, if you're working with others, then I see you being the one leading this season, or being one of the leaders, being one of the main players. You could be the one offering a lot of ideas, or you could be the one who is overseeing or ends up overseeing a project, because it will be your idea or your plan that will end up being executed. Yeah, so it seems like others are following along with an idea of yours, or they are following your lead, right? Because you are the visionary, you are the one with the plan. The King of Swords is a card that represents structure and routine, as well as someone who is intelligent and rational, logical. The King of Swords is often seen as a figure of authority, someone who at times can be or remain detached from a situation or from others to be able to have an unbiased opinion, or to be able to judge fairly, or just keep things fair, keep things just. So I do see you imparting or delivering either advice, instructions, or rules, or judgment. And I don't mean this in like you being judgmental towards others, but rather as in you may literally be evaluating people this Gemini season, or you may be placed in a role or position of a manager, a supervisor, right? I did mention teachers. So if you are a teacher, I see you revising the work of your students, right? Or grading papers or testing your students. It could be also true for those of you who are trainers, for those of you who are mentors. The Seven of Swords can sometimes indicate cheating. So because the King of Swords is showing up, if there is any cheating, or if anybody does try to cheat, this cheating will be caught by you, or I heard it will be suspended. It will be detained or stopped before it can even happen. Right? So in other words, it's going to be very, very unlikely that anyone will be able to cheat and cheat successfully, especially under your watch and supervision. Now, if you are testing students, I do see them passing and are doing very well, or surpassing your expectations. And I will say with the Seven of Swords, there's this feeling of cutting it close. So this could be a situation where if someone is passing, they may be doing so just barely by a few points or by a small percentage, but they're passing nonetheless. Now, if it's you who is going to be evaluated, if it's you who is going to be taking an exam, then it's the very same thing. I do see you passing. Could be with flying colors, but could also be a situation where it's right on the mark. But your grades do show improvement. They do show that you've come a long way and that you're ready. You're ready to either take it up a notch, or I heard fly solo, maybe try things on your own without constant supervision, or it's shown that your confidence on a subject, on a material has improved greatly, right? That you can maybe tackle or handle harder problems now, like you're ready for it. Yeah, so I do see a boost of confidence from you. I heard from your peers could also be the case if, for example, you're managing, supervising, evaluating peers, coworkers, teammates, or it could even be employees. Some of you may be employers and you are evaluating your employees during this time. For others of you, this could be like your students, or it could be you who is showing much improvement and who's also showing and demonstrating a lot more confidence on a subject material or even on a task. But I definitely am sensing a lot of strategizing going on during this season. So you could be thinking about, I heard new formulas or new methods, new systems. You may be doing a bit of restructuring at work. It could even be at home when it comes to your day-to-day activities or when it comes to your chores. As mentioned, there may be some decluttering, organizing, or reorganizing going on this season. I do see you craving and are needing or wanting for structure or better structure. I see you wanting to improve efficiency and efficacy. right? You may be cutting back on certain things or removing steps, for example, that you're coming to the conclusion are only a waste of time or are very time consuming but are not necessary, because I do see you craving something more minimal, and I also heard spacious, right? So you could be, as mentioned, decluttering and removing a lot of, I heard, heavy or big items or objects that take up a lot of space and clutter a space, or don't allow for flow, don't allow for movement. I keep thinking of a warehouse. So some of you may own a warehouse, you could work at a warehouse, and if so, I see there being a lot of changes happening within this warehouse, changes possibly even in the layout or again in the system. Right. So also people could be moved around from their spots and their places. If everyone at work has like a designated spot to improve, again, efficiency, productivity, but also to improve the safety of the employees or just to improve safety and security overall at the workplace. Yes, and like I said, a lot of you could be part of this reformatting, restructuring, as in a lot of your ideas, if you had ideas of how to create a safer, better work environment, are going to be not only considered, but actually applied and implemented this Gemini season. I was about to say the coming days, so that could be true for others of you. This may also apply if you work at a company, because this could have to do with like systems, or if you had ideas for how to improve a system, for how to improve maybe even a program, like a computer program, or I heard a website, or just how to better organize, how to better file things, label them, then your ideas are going to be considered, they're going to be applied. But I see you personally, you applying new techniques, new strategies, new systems into how you work, into your own personal projects, also into your day-to-day. And it seems that they're working for you. I heard in my mind the expression cutting some slack. So these new ideas, they are making things a lot easier and less convoluted and messy as well. Oh, and I wasn't thinking of looking at the card at the bottom of the deck, but I don't know why I reached out for it, and I looked at the card at the bottom of the deck, and it's the Chariot. And at the bottom of the Chariot is the Eight of Pentacles, the number 8 again. And the Eight of Pentacles is exactly what I thought of when looking at the number 8, because it's a card that represents someone being hard at work, someone like practicing, honing their skills, someone working on a project, etc. Yeah, and then the Chariot is a card that represents success, overcoming obstacles and challenges. It's also a card that represents focus, determination, willpower, as well as assertion. So I do see you making forward movement. I meant to say progress, but yeah, forward movement as well. This Gemini season, because the Chariot also represents momentum. So things are definitely picking up after you have done some restructuring, or whatever new things you're applying this Gemini season. They are helping with making things move a lot faster, or for there to be less issues, less problems, less confusion as well. Now, because the Chariot card can indicate success, as mentioned before, if you're being evaluated, if you're taking an exam, yeah, I do see you passing, and or your grades, feedback are demonstrating to you that you have come a long way, and that problems or topics or material that were very difficult for you in the past have become a lot easier. Now they are problems or material that you can handle, that you have a better handle on and more understanding of. Yeah, but you're definitely moving on to the next level. You're passing something that was very challenging. And I feel this could also be applied to your students if you have students, or anyone who you were evaluating, anyone who you maybe are testing. Their scores are showing progress and improvement. And I also see your students, if you have students or clients, being quite pleased with themselves, being quite happy with their own results, or with the fact that, hey, look, they have improved. And the Chariot also lets me know that you will be completing tasks, projects successfully this Gemini season. And also moving on to the next thing. You will be moving on to the next thing once you completed these projects, because I see you kind of being on a roll where you don't want to slow down, like you want to keep things moving, you want to maintain the momentum, because you will definitely be experiencing momentum this Gemini season. Yeah, so I also see this applying at home, right? So where, let's say, if you are reorganizing, right, or you're cleaning up one room, you finishing cleaning up that room is only motivating you and encouraging you to move on to the next room. So maybe you only had planned to fix up one room, but then after you see how nice it looks and how good it feels to be in this recently organized or refreshed room, you want to tackle other rooms, or you want to set out to fix other things, right? Maybe get a lot of the things that you have on your to-do list crossed out. Yeah, so you're getting a lot done and you're feeling quite accomplished. And I also see you being very keen on scheduling things. Some of you could start jotting things in your agenda, in your calendar. That is, if you don't already do that, because I do see you being very into planning, like writing things down, like setting to-do lists for yourself. So some of you could be actually purchasing an agenda, a planner, or you could maybe even purchase a little field notebook to keep with you, to carry with you, or you could, be playing around with the calendar app or the task apps on your phone or your computer to keep organized, because I see that's what you're wanting. That's kind of what you're craving. That's what you will be very into this Gemini season. I'm not sure how long this will last, right? But I do see you kind of being a planner, agenda, reminders, to-do lists, even color coding type of person for some time during this Gemini season. For those of you who are students, I do see you, I heard reformulating. I'm not sure what that is about, but you are definitely studying or reviewing during this period. So you could be preparing to take an exam, and if you are, remember what was said previously. But this is a time in which you may be looking at classes, what classes you're going to take, maybe for the next semester, for the next quarter, maybe for summer season. If you're taking summer classes, you could be enrolling during this time, or just setting your classes aside, just again, planning, scheduling things. Maybe just jotting down what kind of classes you might want to take to then start crossing out and selecting. Yeah, but if there's any specific class that you want, or if there is any session, or if there is any private tutor that you want to book a session with again, you will be getting the opportunity to do so and actually booking these sessions again, or getting a spot. I now want to reveal the message that is on the card that you are drawn to, and we have playfulness with Leo and wisdom. So you may be a Leo sun, moon, or rising sign, or someone who is a Leo sun, moon, or rising sign may be playing a significant role in your life. Also, Leo season is coming up pretty soon, so keep an eye out for Leo season, because that time could be of great significance for you guys. It could be a time in which you might be getting an opportunity to relax a lot more, especially if it's been pretty busy at work, pretty busy at school, just busy in your life in general. But I see Leo season being a time in which you're going to reap a lot of the rewards of your hard work, or you're going to start seeing results. Okay, but I'm going to now read the message that is on the card. So we have a litter of puppies tumbles joyfully with playfulness can make your heart feel full. Have you been having enough fun lately? When and with whom do you find yourself in a joyful mood? If your enjoyment quotient has been low, let your inner child lead the way. Yeah, I feel like recently you've been pretty serious, and so this Gemini season, you could continue with that serious vibe, because that's exactly the vibe I get from the King of Swords, like someone who is just cool and serious, detached. So yeah, just remember, if you can, to add a little bit of playfulness in your day-to-day. Allow yourself to let loose and have fun. Not everything has to be so very serious. A little laughter, a little silliness and goofiness can increase productivity, or it could just bring a lighter feel into a space, making it more enjoyable to be in, more enjoyable to work in. So I feel like this playfulness card is more like a reminder to not forget to play and have fun, and also to allow for some flexibility, right? Because life is full of unpredictabilities, and planning, scheduling may maintain some order, but it cannot, with 100% certainty, prevent the unexpected. So being flexible enough to adapt to last minute changes, or simply to be open to last minute changes, to the unexpected, can do wonders. So just something to keep in mind. But I feel like playfulness is also advising you to not be too detached and not be too serious at work. Maybe try and find some kind of middle ground between seriousness and playfulness, especially if you are leading a team, if you're working with others, because being too serious or very detached could create some tension at work, especially if you're not like connecting with your teammates, with your coworkers or your employees to hear them out, to hear their concerns if they have any, because those are things that can help create a healthy or healthier work environment, or that could just help create or build camaraderie in a team, between teammates or at work. I mean, that's just advice. That's just something that's coming through. I'm not an expert in regards to like what works best in a workplace. So only take that which makes sense to you, which you can see applying and working for you in your situation. I also see this being a season in which you will have amazing comebacks. You are communicating and conveying messages in a way that people will find it very difficult to retort, right? So if they want to kind of play battle of the wits with you, they really have to be on their A game to match you. So I will suggest to be mindful of your communication, how you are conveying your ideas, your thoughts, your opinions, your feedback as well. Most importantly, your feedback. Yeah, because careless words this season might end up cutting deep. So just something to keep in mind, okay? The zodiac sign Cancer or Cancer season could be of significance. We also have Leo. Oh, actually, we have back-to-back seasons showing up in your spread, because you have Gemini season with the air signs. Then we have Cancer season, which comes after Gemini season. And right after Cancer season comes Leo season. So from Gemini to Leo season, you may be experiencing a lot of forward movement, a lot of progress. It is a time in which you will be experiencing momentum. Things will maybe pick up at work, or you yourself will be feeling very productive. It's also a time in which you might be trying a lot of new things, or a lot of the ideas you've been coming up with, you're going to be implementing and seeing amazing results, or whatever results you're seeing from them, whether they're good or they're bad, I see you working with them, like using them as information to then understand what adjustments can be made, if any can be made, to obtain better results the next time around. There's a lot of like reformulating. I also heard repurposing, so there could be a lot of that also occurring during this time, and like restructuring, reorganizing until you find something that truly works for you, or something that you're happy with, something that you want to stick with for some time before looking into making updates once more, or updating. Yes. Oh, by the way, if you haven't gotten paid for a work that you did, or if you haven't gotten paid. I see you bringing this up, the fact that you haven't gotten paid, or you following up with someone and then receiving your payment. Then the 3 puppies here are really standing out to me. So the number 3 could be of significance. You might end up working with 3 other people. You might end up overseeing a team, a department of 3, or you might be working on 3 projects simultaneously or on different times, but there will be 3 projects that you might end up overseeing or leading or playing a major significant role or part in. Also, because I did speak of patients, clients, students, you might be getting 3 new patients, 3 new clients, or you might end up working with 3 patients, clients, or students during this time. But I see 3 people being quite happy with working with you, happy with the situation, happy with the results, or just maybe happy working with each other, happy collaborating is also what is coming through. And actually, canines could be of significance. Maybe you are taking care of a litter of puppies. It could also be kittens, but I do see canines being of significance. So some of you may have been born in the year of the dog, or someone who was born in the year of the dog could also be playing a significant role in your life. But yeah, I'm seeing puppies, foxes, also the sun. Imagery of the sun could be of significance. Yeah, as well as crabs and lions could also be of significance or importance. They could be good omens. Okay, and the throne in the King of Swords is reminding me of Game of Thrones. Yeah, that show, series, book series, television series could be of significance. You could be rewatching or binging the series or rereading the books. Or finishing, maybe if you have been reading one of the books belonging to the series for a while and you're wondering, when will I ever finish it? This is a season that you will be finishing it or making significant progress with reading it or like reading through the series. And if it's not Game of Thrones, it could be any other book or book series or even television series that you have been enjoying or you have been wanting time to get back to. Read more of or see more of. Or hear more of if it's an audiobook. Okay, but I'll shut up now. This is all that I'm seeing for you guys. Things I want to point out before I truly bring your reading to an end. The number 7 could be of significance because it did show up twice in your spread. Oh, by the way, sorry, this came through out of nowhere because I was thinking of the word reformulated since it did come through at some point in your reading and I didn't know what it was referring to exactly. But then something clicked right now in my mind, which is if there is a product that you've been loving and you're almost done with it, I would suggest if you feel the need to do so, if you really love it, to maybe stock up on it. Because if it's the formula that you really love, I do see a possibility of this product being reformulated, like the formula being changed, maybe in the near future, or maybe it already has. So if you have heard news that the formula of your favorite product has been changed, if there's chance for you to still get the old formula, then maybe consider doing so or stocking up on that because soon you might not be able to find this in stock or in the market on the shelves any longer. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, but these are all the messages coming through for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it brought some guidance and clarity. If it did, then please leave a like or comment. And if you're new to this channel and you wish to stick around for more readings with me, Kim, then please do subscribe. I do offer personal readings. All the information is in my website. And the link to my website can be found in the description box down below. To all of you who took the time to watch the advertisements or just let them play in the background, thank you so much for that, since that is the simplest way to support me and to support this growing channel. So if you did, I truly do appreciate it. And before I sign off, I want to give a thanks to my spirit team and your spirit guides for assisting me with delivering these messages to you. Thank you so very much, and I'm wishing you and your loved ones a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on when you're watching. And until the next moment, bye-bye. Hello, if you were drawn to card número 2, bienvenidos to your reading. So this Gemini season, you may be focusing on your health, improving your health, maintaining good health. You may be going in for a physical checkup, or this is the season which you will be prioritizing time to visit the doctor, the dentist, or to schedule appointments. with a primary care provider or doctor for a future checkup. But overall, I sense that it is during this season in which you are going to feel inspired or inclined to check in to see how your body is doing, how you are faring physically. Some of you could be scheduling an appointment with a therapist or a counselor, because health also not only makes me think of physical health, but also of mental health, mental well-being. So you may be starting or resuming therapy or just checking in with a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a therapist, counselor, etc. Now, if you hear yelling or shouting, the kids next door are playing outside. I was going to wait for them to quiet down, but I felt that if I waited longer to start your reading, I would lose the momentum or the magic would be gone. I'm not sure what that was about, but I decided to push through and just start your reading now and hope that my neighbors don't get louder and things quiet down. Yeah, so I don't know why I took the time to expand on all of that, but very much like group 1, there might be a lot of moments in which you will be getting into the zone. Maybe while you're working, while you're doing chores, while you're studying, or working on a project, maybe on a creative project, and you getting into the zone, you being in this work, creative, creating, study flow will help with you getting a lot done or simply making a lot of progress or seeing a lot of progress within a short amount of time. It's also going to help with seeing you through challenging projects or tasks. So if you had trouble getting stuff done in the past because you were uninspired or you didn't have the energy for it or you had trouble focusing, then it seems like it's within this season that those are the things you're going to complete or get out of the way and or see through, finish them with a lot more ease or facility. Yeah, so when you find yourself being in the zone, locked in, as they say, you yourself might not want to break that momentum that you have going because it's either going to feel so good to be experiencing that momentum, be in the zone, or you cannot get the feeling or inkling that it is a magical moment. So it's best to make the most out of it rather than disturb the flow and hope that we get in it again at some later time. So if at any point you do have to get out of the flow or you have to pause something that you're doing and come back to it at a later time, that's okay, that's perfectly fine. Please don't feel like you have to force yourself to continue staying in the zone or forget everything else to not get out of the flow. Because like I said, I see this happening for you more than once, right? And life is a bit unpredictable. Sometimes we do have to stop midway of doing things. So if that happens to be the case for you, then that is perfectly okay. And actually things did quiet down, I think. So that's interesting. That lets me know that things will end up working out for you. So if at any point there are interruptions or you feel like you won't be able to get something done because there are interruptions or there are delays or things just aren't aligning, just aren't working out, give it a little bit of time. Maybe give it a few minutes and things will settle down, right? Things will come back to order or they will get back in order for you to be able to complete and do whatever it is that you need to get done. Okay, but apart from this, I feel like I got sidetracked a little bit. Oh, yes, the expression word of mouth came to mind when I was meditating on this group's energy. So you will be receiving good news directly from another in person. Yeah, so you have an appointment scheduled in this Gemini season to receive news or get a consultation from a doctor or specialist. Know that what you will be hearing is good news. Right? Especially if you're scheduling an appointment to get results back. Yeah, I see you receiving good news. Okay, but anything else? No, that's all that is coming through. So I'm just going to set this card aside and I'm going to reveal the message on the back of it near the end of your reading. First, I want to draw out a couple of numbers to get a look at what you will be addressing or tackling this Gemini season. What will be the themes of this Gemini season? Okay, so we have the number 10. Funny because I mentioned the number 10 for group 1 as well. The number 10 didn't come out for them. The numbers 1 and 0 came out, but it made me think of the number 10 in specific. So I wonder if you were also drawn to group 1, or if maybe you've just come from listening or tuning into group 1. If so, all these similarities between the two groups could be serving as a confirmation that either you're on the right track, or that there were or are messages in both of these groups meant for you to hear at this time. But let's see. We also have 0, another number that came out for group 1. Okay, so the number 10 indicates endings, conclusions, the completion of cycles, and the number 0 indicates like a blank slate. So seeing that we have both 0 and 10, it seems like you are completing a cycle. You are completing a cycle this Gemini season. I heard the word treatment. So for those of you who have been undergoing a treatment, it's very likely that you're completing this treatment in Gemini season, or you're receiving news that you're near completing it, or that the treatment has been successful. I also heard turn in. So I'm not sure what this is about, but what is coming through is someone being let know that they have successfully completed a process, a treatment, and because of it, now they can turn something in. Maybe like an object, or it could be an application. I'm not really sure what this is referring to, but I sense someone happily turning this in. Like, yes, I don't have to deal with that anymore. I can finally put that away is also what I heard, or I can do without this now, right? But it feels like a good thing. At least that's the feeling or the vibe that is coming through. But I do see you wrapping things up with the number 10 and with the number 0. Very much like group 1, you could be completing projects and or tasks and starting new ones, but actually with the number 0, it feels like this is a season in which you might be taking a bit of a break, or at some point during the season, you might choose to take a bit of a break to prepare for whatever is coming next. If it's not throughout the entire Gemini season, it could be just a period of time within this season where you will be in this liminal state. Because I sense you kind of making preparations to make room, make space for whatever is coming next. There's something about releasing, like cleaning. I'm seeing in my mind something being cleansed, cleaned, or removed. You know what it's making me think of? When someone has had their braces for years and now they're getting removed, or someone had a cast on and now the cast is getting removed. But I'm also being given examples of someone having like measurements being taken, or the impressions of something being taken to prepare a mold, to prepare maybe a garment for them, or an accessory, or something that they will later be using, right? So I'm not sure if this is making any sense to any one of you guys, but there is this overall feeling of preparation, but also of like removal, letting go, cleansing. So I'm not sure if you're getting something removed, if you're getting like maybe an impression taken or something taken to have something specifically made for you, or have something tailored to you. But apart from this is the season in which, very much like group 1, you could simply be decluttering, cleaning, cleansing, organizing your space. And or most of the season, you could be spending or investing a lot of time in completing projects that have been pending or that you have been working on. Yeah, there's this feeling of you seeing something through this season. You're completing whatever you started a while back. And this could be a very big or important season for a lot of you, because it may very well be a time in which you are coming out of a cycle. Like, this is the last season of a cycle for you guys. After this season, you're starting a new cycle or starting a new era. Like, I feel like things are changing for you. The wheel is turning for you. The number 10 reminds me of the 10th major arcana of the deck, which is the Wheel of Fortune, which is a card that indicates the ending of cycles. It is also a card that represents change. So you may be experiencing changes within this season. You yourself might be feeling at some point a little bit differently. I was going to say not like yourself, but I mean, that could be the case. You might be feeling a little bit out of sorts at times. And if so, it is because you are going through this inner transformation and just this overall evolution. Yeah, so changes are not only occurring like in your life, in your outer reality, but they're also occurring within. I heard in my mind you're upgrading. So you may literally be upgrading technology, upgrading software. You could be upgrading to a new plan. It's also what I heard, maybe a subscription plan, or could also be benefits like healthcare services or plans, or you may simply be upgrading some tools that you use in your day-to-day. But I also see you upgrading the way that you take care of yourself, the way that you look after yourself, the way that you treat yourself. You could also be upgrading routines, like self-care routines, for example. There is something about personal hygiene, so you could be prioritizing better personal hygiene, but there is a focus on self-care. Looking at 0 and 10 made me think of the expression going from 0 to 10. Oh, all of a sudden I thought of that song Bad Angel by Lisa. So that song could be of significance, or her performance in Coachella could be of significance, because that's specifically what came to mind. Yeah, but something could be going from 0 to 10 very quickly. Maybe this is hinting at that you will be seeing a lot of improvement in an area or in something that you weren't seeing any improvements in for a while, or something that wasn't progressing or you felt was going nowhere. Within this season, it's going to make fast progress, or it's going to make this jump from 0 to 10. Like, one moment it wasn't completed, one moment it was going nowhere, and then the next moment it's done, it's completed, it's where it needs to be, or it's moving, it's going somewhere. Yeah, this could also be referring to maybe projects that have been pending, like tasks that you have had placed on hold, or maybe you were procrastinating getting done. This season, you're just getting them done, right? Whatever was dragging or whatever you had trouble working on because you just weren't feeling it, or whatever you couldn't get yourself to work on to make progress in, it's within this season that you're doing it, you're getting it done. Yeah, and the amount of time that it takes you to complete this is going to be so surprising to you, because maybe you assumed or you expected for it to take so long, but it only ends up taking you, let's say as an example, a few minutes. Yeah, or this could be pertaining to something that usually takes you a long time to complete. This season, you will be completing it a lot faster. This could be referring to chores, like maybe washing the dishes, if that takes you forever because you get distracted or you just don't like washing the dishes. So you really have to find the willpower to complete this task. This season, you're getting those stuff done like quickly. It's happening so fast. Yeah, I also feel like this is referring to your motivation, your energy. You could go from not feeling it, not being in it, to then being hooked, right? To then being kind of, as mentioned before, locked in, focused. And this transition, this change is not only drastic, but it's happening very quickly. Okay, but I'm going to now pull out some tarot cards to get more info about this Gemini season. Wow, so we have the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is often associated with the zodiac sign Cancer. So you could be a Cancer sun, moon, or rising sign, or Cancer season could be of significance. But I want to take a look at the card at the bottom of the deck, because I did so for group 1. So I want to be fair. And we have the Knight of Swords. And below or under, more like the Knight of Swords, is the Tower card, which it's a card that indicates drastic changes. Yeah, and then the Knight of Swords represents swiftness, big changes, big opportunities. The Knight of Swords seizes the moment. This knight can be a bit impulsive at times because they don't have the patience to wait for the grass to grow, to wait for the soup to get cool enough to eat without getting burned. So this season, do be careful to not act or behave impulsively, but paired up with the High Priestess, which is a card that indicates mystery, higher knowledge, insight, creativity. I'm seeing a lot of inspired action. You are taking inspired action this season. If your work, your profession, your hobbies involves or requires for you to channel messages, then know this is the season in which you will be channeling with ease and swiftness. There's something about speed, like quick, quick, quick. So I don't know if you're a tarot reader or if you are a medium or an intuitive reader, because if you are, this is the season in which you will find yourself channeling messages very quickly. And the way that you're conveying, delivering the messages or channeling the messages is very direct. But regardless whether you channel messages for others or even for yourselves, I do see you receiving a lot of downloads this season. So these downloads might be like ideas that you're getting for, let's say, projects, or let's say you are face to face with a problem or a challenge. Then all of a sudden you receive information, you receive the answers, you know what to do, or you might get an inkling of what to do to solve the problem, face the challenge, overcome the challenge. It's very interesting because the High Priestess has this mystery, kind of like hidden things aspect to it, and the Knight of Swords is very direct. So if you're familiar with the clairs, what I'm seeing here is claircognizance. So it's when you just know things, right? But it's this very peculiar feeling or experience because you know things without even knowing that you knew them. Like you know things without even knowing how you know them. You just know them. That's what I see you experiencing this Gemini season, and experiencing a lot of it, which is why I mentioned inspired action, because at times you might just feel inspired to do something, to maybe go out or look something up, look at your phone, turn on the TV, text somebody, and it's exactly what you need to do to receive specific information or to come across maybe a good deal online, or to receive an amazing opportunity or create an amazing opportunity, or to move things along. So you're being guided by your intuition, by your instincts this Gemini season. You're also being guided by your higher self, like your inner knowing, that part of you that sees all, knows all, or has a higher perspective on things. And I did mention channeling, but if it's not that you're literally channeling intuitive messages for yourself or for others, then I see you saying the right thing at the right time. It's like you're finding the right words for the situation without you really seeking for those words. Like they're just coming to you. So your communication this season will be superb or just out of this world, because that's kind of how I feel others might think of you at times, like out of this world, because of how on point you will be with your communication, right? Again, this is making me think as an example, a tarot reader who's giving like accurate readings, right? They might not know what the situation they're reading about is exactly, but everything they're saying is on point and matches the situation of the viewer to the T, right? So if you are a tarot reader, you will be offering very, very accurate readings. If you already do, they will be even more accurate during this Gemini season. I see you impressing a lot of people with your messages, with your readings, even with, again, your phrasing, right? But if you're not a tarot reader, if you do not channel or offer messages, then I do see you impressing people or kind of leaving a few people dumbstruck by how you just know things, by how close you're hitting home It's the expression that came to mind. So as an example, let's say you walk into a room where two other people are having a conversation, and you say the first thing that pops up in your mind, which is the cat's out of the bag. And then you leave. And the two people in the room are left dumbfounded because what you said matches whatever they were talking about perfectly, right? Or you just come in out of the blue and say the very thing someone was having trouble saying themselves. And it's like, how did you know? How did you know to say that? Or how did you know? And you're over here just minding your own business, right? So you might be offering a lot of valuable words of wisdom to a lot of people without you being aware that that's what you're doing. You might also be offering quite a few confirmation to people, maybe through what you say, what you do, what you highlight, what you bring attention to. So I see you being the high priestess who is coming in to save the day, like the high priestess who is the knight in shining armor to come in and save the day with their valuable words of wisdom, insight, or just their mystical, magical nature. But the high priestess being paired up with the Knight of Swords lets me know that this is the season in which you yourself might be wanting more insight on a situation, or if it's not insight, it could be just you might have this thirst for knowledge. You might take it upon yourself to learn, to self-learn, to self-study, or to learn more about something that you are already quite familiarized with, that you know the basics of. Yeah, I see you craving knowledge. I see you wanting to expand or deepen your understanding of something. For some, it could be like a metaphysical or esoteric practice. It could be a specific divination art form. Some of you could also just be more interested in spiritual practices or learning more about spirituality, maybe delving into your own spirituality is how it's coming through. This is the time in which you might be honing your psychic abilities, maybe your clair senses. You could be, I heard tapping more into your inner wisdom or your higher wisdom. Some of you could find an interest in maybe tapping into or delving more into your psyche, your subconscious. There could be some subconscious reprogramming going on this Gemini season. I'm seeing things like hypnotherapy or self-hypnosis, guided meditation, or astral traveling, astral projecting, automatic writing, journaling. So you may be delving into one of these practices, or you might take an interest to one of these, look more into it, research more about it. If you have a spiritual business or a spiritual channel, it's taking off or doing very well this Gemini season. I feel like you're unlocking something in your psyche. You're unlocking something within. And this being unlocked, it's making certain aspects of your life, maybe things like communicating or following your intuition, reading, knowing how to interpret your intuition, like instinctual feelings, gut feelings, a lot easier for you, like almost effortless, seamless, so organic, so natural that you don't even know it's happening or that you're doing it when you're doing it. There's this feeling of what felt like you had to strive for, what you felt like you had to put a lot of effort into it because it felt separate from you, like something that you had to obtain, for example, rather than something you simply had to hone or just let be, is becoming easier for you now, because instead of seeing it as something separate, it's now feeling as something that is a part of you, that has always been a part of you, right? Like your intuition. That is something that is innate. It's not something you have to obtain. It's something that is innate, but it's like a muscle. You have to exercise it, right? To get familiarized with it and strengthen it over time. But it's not exactly something that you have to obtain. Yeah, and that's why I mentioned an unlocking, because this makes me think of like you unlocking your intuition, you unlocking your psychic abilities. And so now you don't have to reach for it. You're just letting it be. And I keep talking about intuition and psychic abilities, and I feel that will be the case for a lot of you. But for others of you, this could be also be talking about innate abilities, like innate skills or talents that you have that, again, maybe you just have to hone to become sort of a master at it or master wielder of it. But it's not something that you will feel like you have to struggle a lot to handle. I also see this being about maybe your self-esteem, your confidence, or even like your identity, like how you perceive yourself. So I'm not sure if you were going through a bit of an identity crisis in the past, or you often struggled with knowing who you are. Maybe those are questions that often came up for you, like, who am I? And I heard what I represent or what I'm here to represent. So I don't know if those are questions that you had in the past, but it seems like this is a season where either these questions are starting to get answered, but it's more like things are falling into place. It feels like you're experiencing a sort of awakening, but that doesn't come with a lot of fuss. It's again that energy from 0 to 10. Like we're skipping all the in between. We're literally going from being asleep, let's call it asleep, to being fully awake. From not knowing to knowing. From not believing to believing. Not being certain to being certain. Not understanding to understanding. It also makes me think of a situation where someone was hesitant to do something for years, and then comes Gemini season and they do it. That hesitancy is gone. Yeah, so this is a time in which you're also kind of realizing that things can happen in a moment, or things can change in a moment. I just heard Hilary Duff singing "In a Moment, Everything Can Change." I forgot what that song is called. Yeah, and I feel like these changes that you're experiencing, they're mostly in reference to you, like how you're feeling. Because I'm sensing someone who was experiencing a lot of doubt. And then comes Gemini season and that doubt is gone. They're certain now. They're feeling a lot more certain. They were hesitating in the past and now they're no longer hesitating. Right? They felt they weren't good at something, and then Gemini season, they're no longer worrying about whether they're good or they're not good. They're just doing the thing, and it's coming a lot easier to them, more effortless. Again, only take that which resonates. If it doesn't resonate, if it doesn't apply, then let it fly. But I'm also seeing a situation which someone was questioning their self-worth, and then come Gemini season, and that's no longer on their mind. Like they're not thinking about that. They're instead focusing on other things, on their projects, on living day by day, enjoying the moment, focusing on whatever is present. But I will say I do get a bit of a spacey vibe with the High Priestess. So you may be daydreaming quite a bit this Gemini season, or at different points you might find yourself spacing out. But when it's time to focus, when it's time to lock in, I see you locking in. And I do see you giving off this ethereal, mystical, mystic vibe this Gemini season. So you might hear from someone that you give this out of this world type of vibe. But I want to read the message that is on the card that you were drawn to. So we have attentiveness with Virgo and Spirit, and we have the message searching for gemstones in the dirt. It's time to look very closely at what's right in front of you. Is there something you're missing? Can the power of your attention turn a negative into a positive? An optimistic mindset might help you see what's possible. Interesting. Ooh, okay, now I understand. So the expression 0 to 10 could indicate a tendency to catastrophize or take a concern to the nth degree. So if you tend to overthink, or you tend to hyperfixate on what is going wrong or what you perceive to be going wrong, you're being advised to be mindful of that this season, because there is a possibility of you catastrophizing, or you allowing for your imagination to run wild. And this season, do be careful to not act or behave impulsively, especially if your need to act comes from a fear of missing out, or it is as a result of having assumed a worst case scenario. So yeah, just be mindful of where your attention goes to. And yeah, with attentiveness, like I said, I do see you being locked in at times, but you are also being suggested that when you are locked in, right, to not completely forget yourself, right? Because as mentioned before, in not wanting to lose the momentum, you might, I heard, push through or continue on without stopping, right? And something that I was going to say at the beginning and I totally forgot, I got sidetracked, was that because of that, there could be a possibility of you pulling all-nighters or just staying way late into the night, working, producing, when you are in that flow, when you have locked in. And although that tends to happen from time to time, you are being advised to not let this become a habit, right? Especially if it starts affecting your sleep or if it starts affecting your health in some kind of way. Because I did mention at the beginning that I feel this is a season which you will be prioritizing your health. So maybe with attentiveness, a lot of you are going to be taking the time to just look at like maybe your life, look at your habits, look at your tendencies, and see which of these habits or tendencies are negatively affecting maybe your health, or which of these habits are not sustainable, right? In the long run, they could end up affecting your physical health in a negative way, right? Or that's what you might be called to do this Gemini season, or you're being recommended to look into, especially if you have been taking something to an extreme, like staying up really late into the night, working, or maybe just thinking, coming up with ideas, or ruminating. Could also be like scrolling through social media or reading. I don't know why the Knight of Swords made me think of like speed reading, or speeding through information, speeding through content. Yeah, but I feel like this is a season in which you're also kind of discovering the power of your mind, especially with the High Priestess. You are coming to better understand how your attention, like what you give your attention to, where you pour your attention to, makes a huge difference in how you feel, in how you perceive the world around you, and in your experience. You are discovering that your attention is a powerful tool. That's how you wield your magic, is what I heard. That's how you transform your reality, via your attention, via your focus. Because something else that came to mind when I mentioned the word jump, like we're jumping from 0 to 10, was timelines, like quantum leaping, jumping timelines. So this is a very interesting month for a lot of you, because it seems like you're exploring like quantum physics. You're understanding the power of perception, the power of attention, and how maybe you don't have to meditate for hours in order to quantum leap. You can literally transform your reality by directing your focus, or just making up your mind about things, deciding what is a priority. Because there's this feeling of someone figuring out they can transform the reality right here, right now. It doesn't have to be later. It doesn't have to be after hours of meditation or through some ritual. It can be here and now by simply focusing on something else, by simply deciding to perceive a situation differently, by simply switching one's mindset. And I know it sounds all very simplistic, or it feels like to me like I'm simplifying something that does take a lot of like practice. For example, shifting your perspective is something that might take years of practice to learn how to do instantaneously in the moment at will. And with that in mind, I feel like that's what the amazing thing about this is because you have spent years practicing how to change your mindset, how to shift your perspective, how to direct your focus. Then now you're able to do it with a lot more ease. Or like I said, something is clicking for you. It's like you're unlocking this power, right? I did talk about abilities, and maybe one of those abilities, one of those talents of yours could be exactly that. You being able to direct your focus, you being able to just kind of make sense of something in your mind and decide, oh, okay, well, that doesn't work for me. That mindset doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. It isn't logical. So I'm just going to let go of it and never think of it again. Never consider it again. It's like, it's that easy, right? Or that's something you will be experiencing this season, maybe for the first time. And it's going to be a bit of a shocker for some, although I feel like you might end up doing this and not even realizing that you have done it because it's happening so naturally or with a lot of ease. Yeah, so this could be like the other way around. We were worrying a lot, and then something shifts, and then we're no longer worrying. We're at peace. We're okay. We were confused, at a loss, feeling scared, and then something clicks, and we're no longer feeling scared because there's nothing to be afraid of. We're okay. So it could be the other way around, where you're going from 10 to 0 very quickly. Because maybe you have learned to shift your focus, your attention, or that's something that you will be doing this season. Yeah, and because I mentioned also you going from not understanding to understanding, and then we have the message, it's time to look very closely at what's right in front of you. Is there something you're missing? If there was something that was confusing you, or there was an inquiry that you had, like you were dealing with a situation in which you felt like maybe it could be dealt with, or it could be resolved, or it could be improved through just some adjustments, but then you were having trouble knowing what those adjustments that you needed to make were, or just how to make those adjustments, then you're gaining clarity about that this season. And again, there's this feeling of either you will know and then start taking action to make those adjustments, or you will make those adjustments without you even realizing that you're making them. That you are providing yourself with answers to your inquiries via action, inspired action. Yeah. Oh, and the expression searching for gemstones in the dirt makes me think of the expression a diamond in the rough. So again, this could be referring to your skills, your talents that you're tapping into this season. For a lot of you, this is the season in which you're realizing that you don't have to obtain a skill. You don't have to obtain a talent. You have it. You simply need to polish it or refine it. It also makes me think of like realizing that all you need is to properly care for something. Spend a little bit more time with it. Put a little bit more practice maybe, or just sit with it is also what is coming through. I also see this being an indicator that you yourself will also be standing out. So from 0 to 10 could also be indicating an increase in your popularity. One moment it seemed like you were going unseen, and then all of a sudden people are reaching out to you. There's a lot of eyes on you, or you're receiving a lot of positive attention. People you were waiting to hear back from, you're hearing back from them, you're hearing news, you're hearing good news. People who were taking forever to decide upon something and you needed for them to make a decision for you to be able to move forward, they're making a decision, they're taking action. You're seeing action this season. You're also hearing back. I see you hearing from people, hearing back from people, maybe receiving more feedback, positive feedback, or just feedback that will be providing you with a lot of insight, that will be helping you out, helping you grow, helping you improve, or helping you tap also into your own potential, or into the potential of something that you're developing or working on. Yeah, and with attentiveness, I also see you being able to focus a lot better this season and finding things that you're really interested in, like material, topics, books, subjects. You could be reading a lot, or reading a lot of articles, or studying quite a bit, researching. I see you informing yourself. But this informing yourself, this researching, this learning, isn't feeling like a chore. It's actually very stimulating to you, very exciting. I also sense that someone who was in the dark, or someone who you hadn't heard of in a while, and you were wondering how they were doing, where were they, what have they been up to, they're going to either make a comeback, or they're going to, I heard, make themselves known to you. So I wonder if this is pertaining to somebody who you've been picking up on their energy, and you've been wondering, like, where are they? Who are they? They might be showing up in your life this Gemini season, or you might be hearing more about them, more detailed information about them to better paint a picture of them in your mind. Or if this is someone who just has been missing in action for a while, you will be hearing from them, hearing some kind of update from them or hearing updates about them. But they could be making a return. For a brief moment is what I heard. Also, this is a season in which anything that you do need to improve upon, anything that you do need to address will be brought to your attention. Because this is the season to start correcting things that, or start handling things that are getting out of hand or could potentially get out of hand if you don't address them now or soon, right? So anything that is brought to your attention, please don't dismiss it. See how you can work with it, see what you can do about it to improve it, to better it, or to maintain it if things are faring pretty well in regards to it. Because the energy I'm getting here is it's best to address it now. So it will be wisest to address it now rather than later. Because if you leave it for later, by that point, it might require more of your energy, more of your time, more of your effort possibly to be able to handle it, manage it, see it through, etc. So you're given the time to work with this, work through this, improve it or keep it up. If it's something that's working for you. You might also be having a lot of prophetic dreams. Your dreams may also be bringing certain things like about your habits, about your tendencies to attention. It could be about maybe what isn't working for you, maybe what is bothering you, what is hindering you, what could help you out, what it is that you're craving, what it is that you're needing, etc. So also pay close attention to your dreams during this Gemini season. Okay, but these are all the messages coming through for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the reading and that it brought you some guidance, some clarity. If it did, then please leave a like or comment. And if you're new to this channel and you wish to stick around for more readings with me, Kim, then please do subscribe. I do offer personal readings. All the information to that is in my website, and the link to my website can be found in the description box down below. To all of you who took the time to watch the advertisements or just let them play in the background, thank you so much for that, since that is the simplest way to support me and to support this growing channel. So if you did, I truly do appreciate it. Before I sign off, I want to give a thanks to my spirit team, your spirit guides, for assisting me with delivering these messages to you. Thank you so very much, and I'm wishing you and your loved ones a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on when you're watching, and until the next moment. Bye bye. Hello, if you were drawn to card número 3, bienvenidos to your reading. So in meditating on the energy of this group, the expression standing ovation came to mind. So this Gemini season, you or you and others may be receiving a standing ovation, or others like family, friends, peers may gather around to celebrate you, celebrate an achievement of yours, a victory, a milestone, or simply to celebrate you. Maybe you are a Gemini sun and you and others are celebrating your solar return this season. Or you could be the one celebrating the solar return of another, their birthday in other words, or an achievement of theirs. Yeah, you may be invited to, or you will be attending a ceremony, an event this season. But I also sense that you are going to be feeling very proud of yourself, and as a result, celebrating you, celebrating your own personal achievements, victories, or successes. Okay? But that is all that is coming through for now. So I'm going to set this card that you were drawn to the side, and I will reveal the message that is on it near the end of your reading. First, I want to draw out a number to get a closer look at what you will be tackling this season, what the main themes will be. Ooh, let me try again because a lot of numbers fell out. Okay, so we have 5 and 6. Because they fell out together, the number 56 or 65 could be of significance. But these numbers also make me think of the months of May and June, which are basically the months that Gemini season falls on. So this lets me know that you're on the right track. You will be vibing with the energy that this Gemini season will be offering. You will be experiencing little to no cognitive dissonance. So you're staying true to you this season. You're acting and behaving, making decisions in accordance with your core values. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I sensed that you will be feeling proud of yourselves throughout this season. Now, the number 5 in and of itself makes me think of fun, play, and creativity. It also makes me think of creative freedom or liberties and changes coming about from one exploring, experimenting, being curious, or getting creative. So this season, you may be getting experimental. If you are a creator, if you create, or if you have a creative hobby, then I see you getting audacious, a bit daring in your whole creative process. So you will definitely be trying new things, maybe exploring with new mediums, or delving into new arenas. So this is the season in which you're testing waters. You're reaching beyond the fence, right? The fence that you have been enclosed in for a while now. So this fence could be representing your comfort zone or just your norm, your standard. The number 6 makes me think of the 6th house in astrology, which is the house of routines, the day-to-day, habits. It's also the house that deals with health. So you may be exploring new routines or trying out new routines. Again, you may be getting a bit daring and trying something that to you might seem a bit outlandish or somewhat out of character, just a bit out there, right? So for example, just an example, if you wear makeup, right, you may be adding a new step in your makeup routine or removing a step from your makeup routine that changes your makeup look, right? Or you may be trying a new color, right? Like a new pigment that might be very vibrant from what you usually wear, right? Or if you usually wear makeup, this season you might decide not to wear makeup when you go out. Or it could be the other way around. If you exercise, but you usually exercise the same parts of your body, you could be training a new part of your body, training new muscles, right? But whatever it is that you're changing, adding, removing, or doing different, it's something that to you might feel a little bit daring. It's something that to you might feel that if your past self saw you doing this now, they would be taken aback because it's either something that you only consider doing or you only imagine yourself doing but never thought yourself to actually do it someday, like do it yourself, try it out yourself. Or it's something that maybe in the past you rolled your eyes at. You kind of, I wouldn't say you looked down on it, but you didn't see yourself doing it. You maybe thought it silly or too much, or you maybe didn't even consider it. It was unimportant to you, but now you're trying it. Yeah, but I do see you changing things up, and you may be doing or creating little changes here and there, but they're adding up. They do feel very significant at the end of the day, right? So I don't see you making a whole lot of changes at once. It more so feels like throughout Gemini season, you will be approaching certain areas of your life a little bit differently, adding or taking away steps to your day-to-day routine, or even changing your schedule. You might be eating dinner at a different time, or when you're usually at home resting, looking at your phone, reading, taking a nap. This Gemini season, you will be hitting the gym or taking a walk around the block or baking, cooking, or just doing something utterly different. Yeah, I will say this to me seems a bit cute because how it's coming through is the changes you're making might to others not seem like much, but to you it's a big deal, right? And it sort of feels like you're breaking the rules or what you're doing is something that you shouldn't be doing, even though it isn't anything bad, malicious, or harmful, right? So an example I could give is I grew up with the idea and the notion that taking a full body hair shower late at night, like after 8 p.m. was a huge no-no. So as an adult, whenever I do, I feel like I'm doing something bad, like I'm breaking the rules, like I'm being such a rebel by doing so. Yeah, so that's kind of the vibe I'm picking up for some of you guys. But in general, I do see you getting out of your comfort zone a little bit this season and making changes in your life, especially in your day-to-day. Yeah, so you're embracing change, you're welcoming it, you yourself are bringing it about, which is quite nice because oftentimes people resist change and they do their hardest to prevent it. But let me now look at the tarot. Okay. So, ooh, we have the Devil card and it fell out in the reversal. The Devil card is associated with the zodiac sign Capricorn. So you may be a Capricorn sun, moon, or rising sign, or the 10th house could be of significance. Maybe you have Leo or Cancer in your 10th house. But the Devil card showing up in the reversal lets me know that this season you're not falling for temptations. You're not falling for short-term gratification. Or you're not falling back into old patterns. So because I kept going on and on about you creating, making changes in your day-to-day, I did talk about the 6th house, which has to do with habits. This lets me know that you are creating new, I heard the word buildable, creating new buildable habits, right? So you're building upon something that you have already established, or whatever you will be establishing this season is something that you can build upon, build further. So yeah, this is the season in which you're overriding habits or tendencies that were harmful to you, that were hurtful even, or weren't serving your highest good. So if in the past there were certain habits or tendencies that you struggled to outgrow or transform, or you found yourself falling back to time and time again, this season you're finding it easier to resist them, is what I heard, or you're finding it easier to shake them off, to set them aside, or deprioritize them, like choose something else over them. Because I will say, I get a bit of a bored feeling, like someone being fed up with the old, someone now choosing to do things differently or now choosing something different because whatever they were choosing in the past consistently doesn't amuse them anymore. It doesn't incite any good feeling in them. It's become more of a chore, more of a bore than a thrill, right? So things are changing this season. You are changing things up. And a lot of the things that you will be doing differently will be things that you won't be forcing yourself to do differently. They're just going to happen. It's going to come very naturally to you. And I'm sensing an awareness, you having this awareness of your habits and your tendencies. Either it has already become very clear to you how you usually normally invest your time, make use of your time, or that's what's becoming very apparent to you this season. And when it's becoming apparent is in the moment that you find yourself not wanting to do what you normally did. So the example that is coming to mind is like person A is about to reach for their phone because by this time of the day, they normally sit down to doom scroll. But as they're reaching out for their phone, they find themselves not wanting to. It's like, oh, again, I'm going to doom scroll again. I don't want to, but this is what I normally do, don't I? Usually by this time, I'm on my phone. But I don't want to do that today. I want to do something else. But what else can I do if what I normally do is look at my phone? Is that really what I normally do? So, it's like this moment of awareness right when you realize that you no longer want to do something. You no longer want to repeat a cycle, repeat a pattern. It's in the moment that you realize you're fed up. You're fed up with the same old, same old. And you're ready, you're wanting to do something differently, to break a routine, to break a cycle. I want to look at the card at the bottom of the deck because I did that for the previous groups. And the card is the Emperor, and below that is the World, and then the Nine of Cups. Okay, so the Emperor is associated with the zodiac sign Aries, and I like it because I feel like the devil might be the shadow side of the Emperor. I don't know. That's just what came through right now. Because the Emperor makes me think of the 10th house as well, right? Since this card often indicates someone who has achieved major status, someone who is a figure of authority and is looked up to, right? And the 10th house is all about status, your public image. It's also the house of career, life direction, achievements. So this is a season in which you're replacing old ways of doing things, old routines, old habits with new ones. And the replacements, I heard the replacements mean business. They're all about creating structure in your life. They're all about bringing stability into your life. And they're here to create positive, real, tangible changes in your life. I keep hearing in my mind, this means business. It means business. We mean business. So you're getting pretty serious about something. I know that's very general, but I feel like it will be very different for each one of you, because one of the examples that is coming to mind is someone is getting very serious about their health, right? And so this is a season in which they're deciding, okay, we're focusing on improving our health. So we're going to do whatever it is that we can to live a healthier lifestyle, right? To improve our physical health, to improve our stamina, our vitality, etc. Maybe through exercising, right? Getting serious about exercising, staying consistent with that. Not falling into any temptations that will make us choose short-term gratification over something long-term. Choose something unhealthy over something that is healthy, right? I feel like the Emperor is here to keep the devil in check, right? So this also makes me think of accountability, self-discipline. You keeping yourself in check, or you keeping your temptations, bad habits, bad vices, unhealthy vices at bay. You know, I don't know much about, is it Marvel? Yes, I don't know much about Marvel, but these two cards make me think of Loki and Thor. Loki is the trickster. He's always up to no good. And Thor, based on what I've seen from the Marvel films, he's always kind of trying to keep his brother Loki in check, right? So yeah, you're holding yourself accountable this season, or someone is. Maybe you have someone like a friend who's holding you accountable. Maybe you've decided to ask someone who you trust, who you can confide in, to keep you accountable, to make sure that you're keeping to the promises that you have made to yourself, that you're not slacking off, or that if you do slack off, to get back on track. Right? Or maybe to remind you, hey, remember why you started doing this in the first place. Remember what your goal was. Remember the promise that you made to yourself, right? And I do see you being very disciplined, but what I like about this energy is that you're applying self-discipline in a healthy, balanced way, because you're not overdoing it, right? You're not being so rigid with your discipline, self-discipline, that you end up, let's say, hurting yourself or being mean to yourself, or not allowing some room for growth, like room for error, room for growth, right? You are allowing some flexibility, but with reason. Because one thing for sure with these two cards is you're not making excuses for yourself. You're being very honest with yourself. And being honest with yourself is not about you being disrespectful or mean to yourself, right? Because this is about you finding a confidence in yourself and being someone who you can rely on, someone that you can depend on, right? So I'm sensing honesty coming from you. you maybe at times even taking a moment to sit down with yourself and talk with yourself. Like, okay, what isn't working? Why aren't we showing up on leg day? Well, it's because I don't like the exercises that we're doing. I don't like going to the gym. I'd much prefer walk a mile rather than be, I don't know, pushing or pulling weights. And then through that honesty, finding a solution, finding something that does work for you. Like, all right, I hear you. Let's show up for ourselves in a way that does feel right. I also see you focusing on achieving not only personal goals, but also career goals, right? It could even be goals associated with school, higher education, or endeavors, could be creative endeavors. But what I like about this energy is that although you are committing to working hard or putting in the work to see progress or to make the changes that you want to see in these areas of life, you're not overdoing it by overexerting yourself or wearing yourself out through overworking or placing unrealistic expectations on yourself. Because I do see some of you trying the whole giving yourself a deadline, but let's say if this is something that you end up doing, you're not giving yourself an unfair deadline. Like expecting yourself to achieve a goal that normally takes months, maybe even years, within a couple of days. You're being realistic and you're being fair to yourself, which is allowing for you to see progress and make progress as well as stay consistent, right? Because oftentimes when we hold ourselves to unrealistic expectations and we don't end up meeting those expectations because they are unrealistic or unfair, we end up becoming disappointed. And that ends up discouraging us from continuing on. So yeah, I feel like this is the season in which you have come to understand what hasn't worked for you in the past, or what were maybe the mind frames, the ideals that you held or you held yourself to that weren't working for you, that were, instead of propelling you forward, holding you back. And those are the things that this season you're deciding to steer away from, be very cautious of, or just not fall back into. Because I also see a situation in which, someone has realized that when something doesn't work out for them, right, or when they make a mistake, instead of, giving themselves a break and a chance to come back to it later to tackle it again from a different angle, they completely just drop it, right? And for the longest time, they thought that, things just didn't work out for them. But this season, they're looking back on that and realizing, like, no, it's not that things didn't work out for me or that those things weren't meant for me. It's just that I got frustrated and I dropped it a little too soon, right? I became discouraged and I decided to not continue. So this time I'm going to try and do things differently. I'm going to be aware of when I become frustrated or discouraged so that I know this is what is happening and can then consciously choose whether to continue or not. Yeah, but I do feel like you're making promises to yourself that you're intending to keep. You're coming through as someone who is ready for change, willing to make that change happen, and change the course of your life, right? Or just of your day to day. I also see you having a healthier approach to work or to school, to commitments. Right. So if you were overworking yourself in the past, if you were demanding way too much of yourself, this season you are taking it down a notch. You are being more considerate of yourself, of your needs. You are giving yourself the time that is reasonable for you to complete something and not expecting yourself to just work miracles. You are being fair to yourself. And if at work there was someone who was overseeing you, who was a bit like a tyrant, I will say, they were not at all understanding maybe of the limitations you were working with, right? Like not having enough time, not having all of the resources available to you. And they simply expected for you to work miracles. They simply expected for you to stay overtime and do more than what you were actually responsible for, than what your role entailed. This season, either this person is completely shifting and changing, right? They are becoming, I heard, a more responsible, understanding, and considerate boss, supervisor, or peer, or you're getting a new boss. A new person is overseeing you, and this person is like the emperor. They are dependable, reliable, reasonable, and practical. They mean what they say, and they do what they said they were going to do. So they keep to their promises, and they're on time, like for appointments, for meetings, and also when it comes to payments, right? They pay their employees on time. Yeah, I that came through very strongly. Something about getting your paycheck on time. Yeah, so if you haven't gotten paid and you're waiting to get paid, you will be getting paid this Gemini season. Yeah, and it could also be that if you are overseen by another, like if you work under someone and this person, they're very disorganized, or they're not up to date with you, they're not up to date with what is going on. It could be because they are lacking organization, right? And so this season, they may be getting organized, or they have been getting organized. And so things are going to start changing at work during Gemini season, because there's going to be a lot more organization and structure. And that's going to create a more stable and consistent and reliable work system, or work environment, right? And this could be you as well, right? If you are an employer and things have been everywhere, or you have found it difficult to manage and to oversee everything that is happening, then it could be because there has been a lack of organization and structure, and that is something that you are working on creating this Gemini season, and I do see you obtaining it. And maybe that's why I heard the word buildable, because this is something that is buildable. It's something that you're starting. You're setting the foundation for. It's like you're kickstarting this era of organization and structure, right? And so this is something that over time you're going to continue making adjustments to, and just improving, right? To create something like a work system, for example, that is solid. Right? But if you are self-employed, if you are a freelancer, this also applies to you, right? If things happen everywhere, maybe in terms to your finances, there hasn't been a lot of financial management. Things are changing. You're setting order, a new system that aims to provide structure for the long run. Yeah, the Emperor makes me think of a professional, someone who is coming through, showing up as a professional. And these two cards also make me think of financial independence. So maybe some of you have recently launched a business, or you have started something of your own, and you're kind of getting the hang of managing your business, or you're starting to get more comfortable with being an independent worker, with having your own business, being an entrepreneur, being an employer possibly, or just handling your own money, managing your own finances. This duo, this combo also makes me think of you reclaiming your freedom, your power, your sovereignty. I did mention something about having more creative freedoms or liberties, and these two cards are confirming that, right? So either you're getting more freedom at work, or you're allowing yourself the freedom to experiment, to explore, to create in a way that doesn't limit you, doesn't limit your potential, doesn't limit your maybe imagination, or doesn't distract you from what you actually want to create. And I totally lost my train of thought. So I'm going to take that as a sign that I need to end that train of thought there, and move on to the next message, which is at work, you will be feeling more confident or more secure. If you feared losing your job, for example, or if you were hesitant at work, like wary at work, because you weren't sure about your position at work, you weren't sure about whether your job was secure or not, for example, it seems like this is the season in which you're receiving reassurance that your job is secured, your position at work is secured. You're not really doubting or fearing losing your position, losing your job, or something of the sort. And as mentioned before, I do see you committed to your work or committed to your career, your studies, or an endeavor. It's like you're not looking back, you're simply looking forward. Your aim this season is to grow, to improve, or to do whatever it is that you can do with what you have. There's this feeling of making the most of what you have or with what you have and going all in. So I do see things faring quite well at work. I do feel like you have a reason to look forward to the future when it comes to the areas of life of career, higher education, or studies. So as mentioned at the beginning, you could have recently reached a milestone, or you could have recently celebrated an achievement of yours, or you will at some point in Gemini season, because I see that it is this milestone, it is this personal achievement perhaps, that is serving as a motivation for you to move towards the future, or for you to continue on, maybe with a career, with a project, with an endeavor, or to move up, right? Work your way up, build, right? Build more, or expand, or grow. So you're either experiencing some kind of momentum, or you're receiving some form of validation that you're on the right path, or that something is buildable, something can grow. You can make a career out of something. You can achieve a goal. Yeah, there's this feeling of, I can do this. Now I know that I can do this. And so I'm going to aim high, or I'm going to aim for the bullseye, not just the target, but the bullseye. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so you're showing up as being quite responsible, committed, and serious about your goals, serious about your promises, the promises you are making to yourself, possibly the promises that you're making to others. You're serious about your commitments and your responsibilities. But I want to reveal the message that is on the card that you are drawn to. Aw, wow, such a soft, such a soft energy, contrasting this more hardcore, intense, masculine energy coming through with the Devil and the Emperor. But we have beauty with Libra and material, the key phrase, a swan glides into view, with the messages, what does beauty mean to you? Does it evoke wonder, peace, joy, meaning, or something else? How much does the pursuit of beauty guide your actions? Ask yourself whether your unique perspective on beauty is benefiting or hindering you. Yeah, so as mentioned before, you're letting go of unhealthy habits and tendencies, and you're also letting go of unhealthy mindsets, beliefs, notions, ideologies, right? Because the word beauty made me think of beauty standards. So maybe something like beauty standards, for example, were distracting you of your own beauty, your unique beauty. Or again, as an example, person A trying to meet or achieve a beauty standard was distracting them from focusing on their personal dreams, right? Their goals, achieving their goals, right? Maybe exploring and experimenting in other areas of life. And something that was coming through with the Devil card in the reversal and the Emperor was the reasons, the motives behind your actions, behind your decisions. As mentioned before, they're aligning with your core values. There's something about your reasons becoming more grounded or being healthy, or they're not solely centered on materialism, like obtaining more money or making more money, or having power, or feeling powerful through achieving something, or becoming popular, something along those lines. There's another reason, right? Or the reason has completely changed. The motive, the underlying desire for achieving something has completely changed. And this is not to say that there's anything wrong with wanting to make money. If you're working to put food on the table, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just seeing that if in the past you focusing on only making more money led to you having an unhealthy relationship with work, right? Or you losing sight of yourself, kind of like you losing yourself in the whole pursuit of more, then things are changing this season, because maybe you still are looking for financial stability and financial security, but you don't feel bound to the need of making more money, right? There's less of an obsession, if there was an obsession over that in the past. This also makes me think of someone who maybe was identifying with their work to the point where their work became their whole identity, and that was resulting in them having an unhealthy relationship with work, or feeling dependent on their work, on their status, maybe even on their financial status. And in Gemini season, it seems like they have broken that codependent relationship. They no longer identify with their work in a way where they feel that their work is their whole identity, right? So let's say if they lose their job, or they no longer have this job that they thought to be their whole identity, they will be okay, because now they see themselves as being separate from their work and not as being their work, right? So they can live, they can still be themselves, be of value, be important without this job, because their value, they have come to learn, is inherent. It's not dependent on this job. It's not dependent on their social or financial status. It's not dependent on what they achieve in these areas of life, in the area of life of career, studies, or even finances. Yeah, so I want to replace this word beauty with whatever it is that you are pursuing, so that the question reads, how much does the pursuit of whatever it is that you have been pursuing, whether it be status, wealth, power, popularity, or whatever it may be, etc., how much does the pursuit of that guide your actions? And is your unique perspective on that which you have been pursuing benefiting or hindering you? Has it been benefiting or hindering you? Has trying to achieve some beauty standard that society determines every couple of years, because beauty standards do change over time, has that been hindering you, or has that been benefiting you? Just as an example, right? You don't have to be pursuing any kind of beauty standard. It's just an example that I am offering here, because again, this could be pertaining to something else entirely. But I see you freeing yourself of things that made you feel as if you were dependent on it. Yeah, and I definitely do see you having a healthier relationship with money, with work, with career, with status. Again, could be higher academics as well. And I do see you creating beautiful things this season, because I did mention something about you getting creative, and you creating change through being curious and being explorative. So with beauty, you're bringing beauty into your life by allowing authenticity, by you being authentic. What I see for some of you is this is a season in which you're not following trends, right? You're following your heart's desires instead. You are choosing that which you are genuinely drawn to, and not something that has been proclaimed by the faceless masses as worth your time, or worth your money, or worth your consideration. You are deciding for yourself what is worth your time, your money, your consideration. And if what you like happens to be a trend, then okay, whatever, that's fine. But you're not following that because it's a trend. You're following that because that's exactly what you like. That's exactly what you believe in, not what society or some industry makes you believe that you need or you should strive for. So this also makes me think of kind of getting out of the matrix a bit, and you kind of taking control and authority over your own life, your own decisions, even the way that you feel and perceive yourself, and feel about and perceive your life. And with beauty, some of you could actually, if you have a business, you may be rebranding, or you could be changing things up to create a more aesthetically pleasing environment or look to your business, or maybe a look that aligns more with your personal style or what you want your business to represent. And these cards make me think of, like a hard shell, but a soft core. So you're embracing your duality. Yeah, you're embracing the fact that maybe you can be intense, but you can also be pretty chill and relaxed at times, right? You can mean business at work. You can be very serious when you're working, but you can be goofy and playful when you're out having fun or when you're with your friends. You can be a multifaceted individual. You don't have to be one way or the other to be genuine. And this beauty card could also be representing you embracing more of your softer side, also your feminine side. Maybe you are someone who always wears black, but that doesn't mean that you don't like the color pink or you don't like soft pastel colors. You might, right? So yeah, there's something about, like, people might often misjudge you by the way that you look, maybe by the way that you dress. Could even be your voice or your facial expressions. Maybe you have a very serious resting face, and so they assume that you're a certain way based on how you look, but in reality, your personality is very different from how you look. Yeah, I don't know why that is coming through. It just came through. Or this could be the case this season, because I did mention you kind of doing something that is out of character. So maybe you are trying something that is out of character. And it's not that it's out of character. It's just that other people might perceive it as being out of character because they don't normally see you in this light. But yeah, whatever you're trying this season could be things that you've always been drawn to, maybe secretly drawn to, and now you're just going for it. You're not hiding it any longer. You're not hiding yourself. You're allowing yourself to show up as the beautiful swan that you are, with your unique plumage. Okay, I'll stop there. But yes, that's what I'm seeing so far. I do want to let you know that you are standing out this season in a good way, in a positive way. I do see you grabbing people's attention. There's something about your aura, your energy, but I feel like the more that you stay true to you, the more that you allow yourself to show up in the most authentic way that you can, you will be attracting positive attention. People will be drawn to you, and you will find yourself glowing. You won't be able to help it. You will just glow from the inside out. But let's see, we have Capricorn with the Devil, Aries with the Emperor, and then we have Libra. So these three zodiac signs could be of significance. The numbers 56, 65, 5, and 6. And swans or white feather birds, like white doves, could be of significance as well. Okay, but these are all the messages coming through for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it brought some guidance, some clarity. If it did, then please leave a like or a comment. And if you're new to this channel and you wish to stick around for more readings with me, Kim, then please do subscribe. I do offer personal readings. All the information is in my website, and the link to my website can be found in the description box down below. To all of you who took the time to watch the advertisements or just let them play in the background, thank you so much for that, since that is the simplest way to support me and to support this growing channel. So if you did, I truly do appreciate it. And before I sign off, I want to give a thanks to my spirit team and your spirit guides for assisting me with delivering these messages to you. Thank you so very much, and I'm wishing you and your loved ones a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on when you are watching. And until the next moment, bye bye.